I don't think people really understand that there is such a link between authenticity and happiness. You know, it's you can't be truly happy if you're not being yourself. And I think that is the key, that one of the biggest things that ails so many people is that the true thing that reason why people can't find happiness is that, first of all, they haven't found themselves. They're not being themselves. They're walking around basically editing themselves to fit into places, to fit in with people, to be accepted. And the person that they need to get the acceptance from, first of all, is themselves. And they don't even accept themselves. And that's why they're always shifting. One of the most beautiful, I always tell you guys, one of the most beautiful feelings in the world is when you truly don't care what people think. I mean, not to be in a crass way, like I don't care, but when you're 100% comfortable with who you are, and just you say, well, this is what it is, and either you're gonna like it or you're not. I think one of the most beautiful lessons I learned as a kid, my dad used to tell me this all the time. My dad said, everybody's not gonna like you, son. He's like, everybody's not gonna like you. He says, and if everybody likes you, either one, you're doing something really wrong, or two, they're lying to you. But more than likely, it's both. And so, I mean, I from the time I was a kid, I grew up under the notion that I was just not going to be liked by everyone. And so I've never had this overwhelming urge to bend and contort myself. And I will tell you, I mean, even as an adult, I started to want to conform to my friends, but it was uncomfortable for me because I was raised to be myself. I was raised to appreciate the fact that I was, I always call myself that I'm awkward, but I like that. I think we're all awkward. I think that's what happens when people, that's the thing that kills people the most, is that they try to polish away their awkwardness to fit in. And that's what makes you you. That's what makes you authentic. That's what makes you unique. But everybody walks around trying to be like everyone else. And so, once again, you're normal. But what is normal? Normal is unremarkable. Normal is forgettable. If you went through a basket of apples and all of them looked exactly the same, would you remember them? But you remember one that was kind of, had 8 sides to it. You remember one that had, black freckles. You remember one that had, a birthmark on his nose. It's, and that's what makes you. When you're authentic. But it's not just your outward appearance, it's more so your inward appearance and who you truly are, the things that you really like, the things that really matter to you. And it's so sad to see people come out every day like they're on a movie set, like they're acting. And unfortunately, that is real life for a lot of people. A lot of people come out on a daily basis playing roles that a society has assigned for them, trying to fit in to particular ways of being, thinking, dressing, walking. It's amazing how when you look at people, that people actually walk a certain way depending on where they've been raised and who they've been watching. They talk a certain way. They, and most of it is just pretense. Most of it is just pretense. Most people are just pretending to try to fit into a role. Imagine how exhausting that is. Imagine how draining that is. But worst of all, imagine how conflicting that is. I talk about it all the time when I say true happiness is when your thoughts, your words, and your actions line up. And the sad thing is a lot of people are thinking one thing, they're saying one thing, but if you actually pay attention, they're doing something totally different from what they say. They say they want this. This is what they say they want, but then they're doing something different. And Lord knows what they're thinking, because if your words and your actions are that far apart, what's going on in your mind? And how can you ever expect to have that peace, that balance, that congruence, to where you can actually have happiness? Because that's what's all about. Happiness is when your words, your thoughts, and your actions all line up. When you're truly being who you truly are. And then there's also parts about who you are when you actually mature to learn how to, to elevate your thoughts, to have the right frame of mind, the right way of looking at things, to where you look at things more, not just about you, but, more a wider view of the world. But first of all, putting yourself in a position where you're happy with what it is that you do. But how can you be authentic once again when you don't know yourself? How can you be authentic when you're not living a life that you're proud of, when you're not living a life on your terms? Think about how many people are going through their lives, and if it's you, I can imagine how rough that is, where every day you're playing a role that you did not pick, and you have to pretend as if you like it. That is not a way to spend a lifetime. I'd much rather show up somewhere and be who I am and run the risk of people not liking me, but also take the chance that I will find that one or two people that actually are drawn to who I am, who I really am. So when I go out, I don't have to pretend. We all have those one or two people that, that we can be ourselves with. But what if you were able to be yourself any time of day? That's one of the promises I made to myself when I got on social media, was that I was never going to pretend to be something or someone that I'm not, because that would just be a lot of work. That would be a lot of work to have to get up and pretend, to have to, when I'm out in public, have to pretend to be something that I'm not. And some of the things that people are very surprised about when they actually meet me in public is that, somebody actually said, I actually sat back and I watched you for 30 minutes and you're the same person. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit more character in person. A little bit more, what's the word? A little bit more unedited in person, but the exact same person. And I said, yeah, well, who has time to pretend like that? So just because I meet somebody in the street, now I have to pretend like I'm somebody else. I have to change the way I talk, change the way I stand. No, I do what I do. I do me. And I do me unapologetically. And that is what I hope for you guys. I hope that you guys can have the courage to show up in life unedited. And take the chance. Take the chance, because you know what? Somebody is out there waiting to meet you. Somebody's out there waiting to meet you. And all you're giving them is this representative that you think other people want. Where your true and authentic friends, your true and authentic family, the people that you're drawn to, the people, your tribe, they actually would love to meet you if you only had the courage to introduce yourself. Take that charge, Be you. Trust me, it's a lot less effort. It's a lot less effort to be yourself. You don't have to rehearse. Be you. It's a great feeling. So that's all I have for you guys. Be authentic, guys. Be authentic. Because walking around playing a role, pretending, it's definitely not where, that's not where it is. I'll be honest with you. And if anybody out there ever meets me in person, you'll understand that the same person that you see on camera is the exact same person in real life. Because I am truly and authentically being who I am. And I hope that you guys, I hope the same for you. Because I cannot imagine the alternative. I cannot imagine trying to be someone else every day. And then having to shift who I am depending on where I am. People love authenticity. But most especially, you'll love it. Because you'll be you. And it doesn't matter how many people are around you. If the people who are around you are in love with someone else. Imagine how depressing that is, to be loved by millions of people and you know that they are loving someone who is not even real. You're pretending. That's why a lot of people who are famous are depressed, because they create these personas that's not even them. And then they see people falling in love with these people and they're so afraid to introduce their real self because they think they won't be loved or appreciated. That's got to be hell. And I refuse to live in that type of hell, and you should too. And if you are, take a step back. Stop worrying so much about what people think you should do. Ask yourself, do I really want to do that? Is that really who I am? Stop taking cues from social media about how you should live. Is that comfortable for me? Is that who I am? And if it's not, don't do it. Don't do it. Be you. And once again, you'll be surprised how many people would actually like the real you. But you're not even giving them a chance right now. Try it out. And you'll find out who your real friends are.